You think you played with me, but in reality, we played with you, Kai. Kai stumbled, his entire body drenched in sweat, his hands trembling at his sides. He looked around frantically, but there was no escape, no way out. He had been outplayed completely. The young struggle filled the room once again, his voice smooth and victorious. You really should have known better than to go up against the Kim family, Kai. His gaze darkened. Now, what should we do with you? Kai opened his mouth, but no words came out. His face twisted in sheer panic, his body trembling like a leaf. You were so confident when you had me tied up. Taehyung continued, his smirk never wavering. How does it feel now, knowing you were never in control to begin with? Kai let out a shaky breath, his knees wobbling. Look, we can talk about this. I was just. You were just an idiot. Subin cut in smoothly. An idiot who thought he could take down my brother. But you forgot one thing, Kai. Kai swallowed hard. What? Subin's smirk widened and he glanced at you. You didn't just go up against Taehyung. You went up against his wife. He said. Taehyung let out a low, satisfied hum. And now he met your gaze, his dark eyes gleaming. It's time to finish this. You smirk, clicking the safety of the gun, your fingers tighten on the trigger. Kai's eyes widened in horror, and in that moment he knew it was over. You gripped the gun tightly, your fingers hovering over the trigger as Kai stood frozen in front of you, his eyes wide with terror. The weight of the moment pressed down on the room, suffocating and thick. One pull of the trigger and it would be all be over. But just as you were about to squeeze a faint voice grasped your attention. Wait, sweetheart, the young deep voice commanded. You turn your head, your brow frowning in confusion. Kai swallowed hard, taking an involuntary steps back. What now? He stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. The young chuckled, the sound sending a chill down Kai's spine. I want to tell you a story, Kai, a story about how you ended up here at this very moment. This very moment completely at my mercy. Kai stiffened, glancing between you, Taehyung, and Subin, his panic evident. Taehyung let out a breath as if recalling something amusing, and then he began. The night Kai had made his first mistake, Taehyung had been furious. His office was in chaos, filled with shattered glass, overturned furniture, and the lingering tension of an impending storm. That bastard! Taehyung roared, slamming his fist against his mahogany desk. His jaw was clenched so tightly it looked like it might snap. His eyes burned with pure rage as he paced back and forth like a caged animal. You stood a few feet away, arms crossed, watching him with wary eyes. You had seen him angry before, but this was different. The fury rolling off of him was suffocating, uncontrollable. Taehyung, you spoke softly, trying to pull him back from the edge. You need to calm down. Calm down? Taehyung scoffed, running a hand through his dark hair. His breathing was heavy, erratic. That bastard stole my shipments. Do you understand what that means? Millions in weapons gone. He exhaled sharply, gripping the desk tightly. And you want me to calm down? Before you could say anything else, the door burst open and Subin entered, his expression grim. Young, Subin began, his voice serious. It's worse than we thought. The young's head snapped towards him. What now? Subin hesitated before stepping closer. All of our weapons shipments from Germany have been stolen too. Silence. For a moment, the entire room was suffocated by the weight of Subin's words. Taehyung's hand curled into fist. His knuckles turned white from the pressure. His entire body trembled with unfiltered rage. "That's it," he said darkly, his voice a dangerous whisper. "I was willing to ignore Kai. I was willing to let him think he could play his little games." Then he turned, his expression cold, emotionless. "But this is out of limit now." His voice was final. Kai had crossed the line. It was until Taehyung had calmed down that he began to advise the perfect plan. He leaned back in his chair, fingers tapping against the surface of his desk as he turned to Subin. "You are going to join Kai's mafia," Taehyung said, his voice steady and calculating. Subin raised a brow. "And how exactly am I supposed to do that?" Taehyung smiled. "Leave that to me. I'll create a few situations that will make Kai desperate to recruit strong men. When the time comes, you will be his best option." Subin crossed his arms, nodding. "And once I'm in?" Taehyung's gaze darkened. "I want you to gain his trust, learning everything, his weakness, his allies, his enemies. And most importantly," he glanced at you, "we need Kai to hire an assassin." You tilted your head. An assassin?" Taehyung's smoke deepened. "Yes, and you, my love, will be that assassin." Your eyes widened slightly. "You want me to infiltrate our mansion?" "Exactly. Subin will suggest you as the best option for the job. Kai will take the bait." "But how we will do that?" You asked, confused. "I'll create some situations in which he will hire an assassin to kill me." Subin chuckled. "And why would he need an assassin?" "Because I'll make sure he needs one," Taehyung said darkly. "And you?" He pointed at Subin. "You will suggest Ryan as an assassin to Kai." And just like that, the plan was in motion. Subin played his part flawlessly. After a few carefully staged incidents, Kai was desperate for a strong man, and Subin fit the role perfectly. It wasn't long before Subin gained Kai's trust, proving himself invaluable to the mafia. Once he had the inside access, he carefully fed information back to Taehyung. That was when they learned something crucial. Yunjae was Kai's right-hand man, his most trusted advisor, the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Yoonjae, whom Taehyung recruited few months back in his parents' mansion. Yoonjae didn't know Taehyung is married and had a wife and brother. When Subin discovered Yoonjae is Kai's man, the plan had to be altered. Taehyung had always been a step ahead, always thinking 10 moves forward, but this was unexpected. Still, they played along, they adapted, and the pieces fell perfectly into place. You entered Taehyung's mansion as a maid, a mere shadow blending into the background. You played the role so well that even Kai, the self-proclaimed mastermind, had no idea he was being played. Taehyung had controlled the entire game from the very beginning. "So desperate to kiss your boss, huh? I can see it in your eyes." Taehyung smoked, leaning towards you. You smirked and about to wrap your hands on his neck, but Taehyung whispered something. "In your role, sweetheart, Hyunjae is watching us," he whispered, tugging a strand of hair behind your ears. You peeked through his shoulder and found Hyunjae is watching both of you while talking on his phone. You looked at Taehyung, who smirked, raising his eyebrows. "Don't worry, we will continue this tonight when everyone will be asleep," he whispered again. As you came in Taehyung's room, he closed his laptop and pulled you on the bed. "That bastard called Hyunjae today. He told me to mix poison in your drink tomorrow," you said tiredly, resting your head on his shoulder. "I know, I heard everything," he said, caressing your hair softly. And that MF ordered Yunjae to kill you too, but I won't let that happen. Nobody can touch my wife while I'm Nobody can touch my wife while I'm alive, he said, pulling you in a tight hug. So what's the plan now? You asked, snuggling in his neck. You will mix poison in my drink tomorrow. You look up at him and he nodded. Are you serious? He just nodded with his innocent face. Just do that and leave the rest on me. I'll handle everything afterwards. I'll handle that, Yunjae. You just nodded and Taehyung pulled you in his lap, hugging you more tightly. Seriously, I'm not doing that, you said and rolled your eyes. Come on, wifey, can't you help your husband? You know that I always wanted to be an actor. Please just do that for me. He pouted and you rolled your eyes. You don't have to do anything, you just have to sit and then I'll come like a boss and ask you where were you when Yunjae died. That's it. He pouted more and you look at him in disbelief, folding your hands on your chest. You rolled your eyes and nodded, being done with him. Fine. Taehyung's face lit up. Okay, I'm going out. I'll come in few minutes, he said, and he walked outside the living room, jumping like an excited kid. Who will say he's a damn freaking mafia? You said and sat on the sofa, trying to act nervous or scared. One fine evening, you both spending time together in his room. He snuggled more in your neck while you chuckled, but you stopped when your phone rang. You took the phone, pushed Taehyung away a little. Subin is calling, you said and picked up the phone, and Taehyung didn't even bother to listen. After talking for a while with Subin, you let out a loud moan when Taehyung bit your neck. Your eyes widened while Taehyung giggled. What was that? What are you talking about? You said and pushed Taehyung away, but he is not ready to leave you. It sounds like a never mind. He clearly knows what was that, but he act like he didn't know because of Kai, who is with him. My boss wants to talk to you. As soon as words left his mouth, it grasped Taehyung's attention. He signaled you to put phone on a speaker. After Kai cut the call, you asked Taehyung about the next plan, and he said, "Do it what he want." He said, sitting on the bed. You looked at him and gulped. He was looking damn serious. Are you ready? You said, filling the injection with the drug. This is slow dosage. You will be unconscious for an hour only. You look up and found him looking at you with a huge pout. You roll your eyes, shaking your head, saying, I'm not doing that, okay? Not now, at least. Taehyung sighed, looking down. You felt bad, but was determined this time. But he said, you have to seduce me, then make me unconscious. But you are just making me unconscious without seducing me, he said in tiny while joining pointing fingers of his both hands, swinging side to side, looking down, acting all cute. You rolled your eyes and let out a sigh. You're such a drama king. What you want me to act now? You said, putting more pressure on act. Word. He looked up and smiled. Okay, so the scene is I'll sit there. He pointed towards the bed, shirtless. You will enter wearing my favorite sexy nightie, which I gifted you on our wedding night. Then you have to seduce me. Then we will make love. Then you can make me unconscious. How is that? He said in one go and blinked his eyes, cutely smiling. You looked at him and shook your head before going out. Come fast, I'm waiting for you, he shouted. Taehyung giggled and threw his shirt away and sat on his bed, replacing his expression into a cold and serious one. As Taehyung finished his story, the room was heavy with silence. Kai stood there, his face pale, his body trembling as he processed the horrifying realization. He had never been in control, not even for a second. You, Kai swallowed hard, his voice weak. You planned everything. Taehyung chuckled. Oh, Kai, he said, his voice dripping with amusement. You thought you were the one playing us? He shook his head. You were never in control. You were always the pawn. Kai's breathing was ragged, his hands shaking violently. Then why did you go along with it? Why didn't you just kill me from the start? The young smoked. Because where's the fun in that? Kai's heart pounded in his chest. He turned to Subin, hoping for an ally, but Subin simply smiled. Kai had been played. Checkmate. The basement was filled with an eerie silence. The dim yellow lights flickered against the damp walls, casting long shadows over the cold concrete floor. The smell of gunpowder and blood lingered in the air, thick with tension. The young stood up from the chair. Kai's breath hitched. His eyes widened in pure disbelief. Impossible. Kai stammered, his voice barely above whisper. He had tied the young up himself. He made sure the ropes were secured so tightly that escape should have been out of the question. His own hands had fastened the knots, his own eyes had checked them twice. Yet here Taehyung was standing before him, smoking, a slow, deadly smoke that sent a shiver down Kai's spine. You? Kai took a step back, panic creeping into his features. How the hell? Taehyung rolled his shoulders, cracking his neck as if he had just woken up from a nap. He chuckled, low and amused. You really thought you could hold me down with some pathetic ropes? Subin leaned against the wall, arms crossed over his chest, matching his young's smoke. You stood beside him, watching Kai with nothing but amusement in your eyes. Kai's panic grew. He fumbled for his phone, pressing the emergency dial. Silence, no response. He tried again, nothing. His hand trembled as he turned to the door. Guards, he screamed, his voice cracking. Get in here, right now. Silence. Not a single footstep echoed down the hall. Kai's breathing became ragged. His heart pounded against his ribs. Taehyung let out a deep chuckle, shaking his head in mock sympathy. Oh, Kai, you poor, clueless idiot. His eyes darkened, his smirk widening. You really thought I would come here alone? Kai's throat dried, his fingers clenched into fists. Taehyung took a slow, menacing My men took over your entire state the moment I walked through those doors. Another step. Your guards? Your so-called mafia? He scoffed. They all work for me now. Kai swallowed hard. You are alone now, Subin added casually, his voice dripping with amusement. Kai's panic twisted into rage. His eyes darted between the three of you before landing back on Taehyung. You think you are untouchable? He spat, his hands shaking. I have built my empire. I have You have built nothing. Taehyung cut him off coldly, his voice laced with venom. His entire aura shifted, dark, deadly, suffocating. The air grew thick with unspoken danger. You are nothing but a cockroach who crawled into the mafia 2 years ago, thinking you could take over my throne. Kai gritted his teeth. You are just scared. Taehyung let out a sharp, mocking laugh. Scared, he tilted his head, his eyes burning with ruthless amusement. Boy, I was the mafia before you even know how to hold a gun. I became the boss at 17. Now I'm 35. His smoke deepened. And you have been playing mafia for what? 3 years? Kai's nostrils flared. His pride was cracking, his desperation showing. Taehyung lifted his chin, rolling his wrist as he took off his suit jacket and tossed it aside. But go ahead, show me what you have got, boss. His voice turned into a dark, intensing whisper. Come on, Kai, fight me. Kai's hand curled into a fist. Fine, his voice was filled with fury. Let's see if you are really as powerful as they say. Without another word, Kai lunged. Taehyung didn't flinch. Kai threw the first punch, but Taehyung ducked, his movement swift and effortless. His side step barely exerting energy as he dodged another attack. You will have to do better than that, Taehyung mocked. Kai growled and threw a hard kick aiming for Taehyung's rib. Taehyung's Taehyung caught his foot mid-air, twisting it sharply. Kai yelped in pain as he stumbled back. Then Taehyung attacked. A single powerful punch landed against Kai's jaw, sending him crashing into the table. Kai groaned, his lips splitting open. He wiped the blood with the back of his hand and staggered to his feet. You bastard! Before he could finish, Taeyong grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Kai gasped, his eyes wide with shock. You never stood a chance, Taeyong whispered, his voice dripping with finality. Then, bang, a gunshot echoed through the basement. Kai's body slumped against the wall, a bullet hole clean through his chest. His mouth opened in a silent gasp, his body convulsing before falling still, dead. Taehyung exhaled, spinning the gun once before tucking it back into his holster. He turned to Subin. Take care of the body. Subin nodded, his expression unreadable. Consider it done, Taehyung. With that, Taehyung turned to you. You were already smoking, arms crossed, watching him with admiration. He quivered a brow. What? You tilted your head, your voice laced with amusement. I'm just proud of you, my husband. The young chuckled, stepping closer. He cupped your cheek, his thumb gazing over your skin before he leaned down and placed a soft peck on your lips. Of course you are, he murmured against your skin. I'm Kim Taeyong after all. You rolled your eyes playfully, but your heart fluttered at the warmth in his gaze. He intertwined his fingers with yours, squeezing gently. Let's go, he said, guiding you towards the door. We have a celebration to attend. And with that, the two of you walked out hand in hand, leaving behind the ruins of a fool's empire.